Welcome to the Thing About Salem. I'm Josh Hutchinson.
This is Sarah Jack. This is our Podcasthon 2026 episode, and we are so glad you're here for it.
We're here for it too. Podcasthon is a global event where podcasts around the world raise money for nonprofits that they believe in. This is our second year being part of it, and we're excited to be back.
We're asking you to give some support today to End Witch Hunts, a U.S. nonprofit out of Colorado, the organization behind this podcast and the Thing About Witch Hunts podcast. The link to donate is endwitchhunts.org/donate. We hope you'll support us.
On International Women's Day this year, March 8th, End Witch Hunts hosted a panel with advocates from Nigeria in partnership with Advocacy for Alleged Witches Nigeria and Dr. Leo Igwe. One of the people on that panel was Maimunat Muhammad.
Maimunat's father died when she was 10. Her mother was accused of killing him through witchcraft, and in her community, that accusation did not stay with her mother alone. It moved to the children.
We're going to play a clip now of Maimunat speaking. Listen.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Maimunat. I'm from Niger State. I am going to be coming from the point of a victim. I grew up being called a witch, myself, my mom, and my stepmother, because our father died earlier. So I lost him at 10, and the entire community, we were treated bad, right? People don't want to interact with us. I remember one time I was 10 and someone carried cutlass to harm my mother, because according to them, she killed her husband. In my community, Nupe community, oftentimes when a man dies, they accuse the wife. So in this case, not just my mother was accused, but also her children that were responsible for his death. And a lot of dehumanizing things happened at that time, and nobody in the community said anything. Nobody stood for us. We were treated like we were not a member of that community. We were not part of the community. And it stayed for more than 20 years. I didn't know there was any, I didn't know of any organization, anybody, anything, anyone at all that you could speak to about the behaviors, or do I say the accusations and the actions that come from people of the community. And we had to endure all of this until I met Mr. Leo. And I come to realize that actually there is a law that says that you can't accuse people wrongly. But could it be that people are not informed about these laws? People do not know their rights? Or is it that we do not have access to people who would help us when we are in situations like this? Because I tell you, it's not easy. It was not an easy experience for any of us. Imagine growing up in a community where nobody wants to talk to you, nobody wants to interact with you. When you come, they chase you away like you are a plague. And it's not just 1 year, for over 20 years. If I want to get married now, if it's in my community, they will tell you that girl, that she and her mother are witches. I don't know if you understand. It affected us for a long time. Even though I am educated, my mom also has some level of education, but the rural community, they don't care. There's no leader. And just like someone said, one of the speakers said earlier, that the religion, I don't know if it's the interpretation or the part that we choose to believe, or we choose to interpret. They will tell you that when you tell people that you don't believe in the existence of witchcraft, they will tell you that, oh, God said that you should seek protection from evil. That means there's witchcraft. If God is saying there's witchcraft, who are you to tell them there's no witchcraft? And when you are a big example of the witchcraft in your community, at a point you begin to assume, or you begin to question yourself, are you sure I'm not a witch? Okay, and how do I even know if I am not a witch? So I am so happy that there's a campaign, right? people are beginning to talk about these accusations. Sometimes people get killed. Yes, people get displaced, people get harmed. And like I said, my mother was almost killed because they assumed she killed her husband. So I think when we have platforms like this, when we have people talking about it, when we have actions being taken, not just when we talk about it, when someone is accused, let there be actions, let it be clear, let everyone see it, let there be consequences. That is the only time we can stop it. Other than that, it is becoming a normal thing. I can talk about my own community. It's becoming a normal thing. A woman lost her husband, she killed him. A man lost his wife, or a woman does not have a child, my uncles would come. Some of them will come to my mother's room, the ones that will rain insults, the ones that will want to hit her. Some of them even did hit her. And as a child, I'm like, why are you beating my mother? Why are you beating my mother? You can't keep beating my mother. My father is dead. At least we are mourning. She has lost her husband. And when it continued, at a point, I told them that nobody is going to enter my mother's room. Anything you want to do, you have to do it outside. And I was very tiny. This girl must be a witch. Her mother has given her that witchcraft. That's why every now and then, when we are coming here, she will talk. When we are gathered, they call her. My mother is not going anywhere. You can't keep humiliating her every night. Sometimes I'll be crying when I'm doing that. And then at a point, they're just like, I continued, even though they kept tagging me as witch. I will tell you that I endured it for years, but I was the same person who stopped that thing, that accusation of my mom. The last time I said to them, I said, any day, even if it's conversation, I don't care whether it's a joke, anybody who refers to my mother as a witch, I'm going to take it up because I am no longer that child again, and we've endured it enough. So it was not that when they were talking, it was they were inflicting pain on my mother, and I am there with her. It's not once, it's not twice, severally. At the time they asked her to leave the house, she's no longer needed in this house, she should leave the house, she killed their brother. You can't keep watching, no matter how young a child is, they know when they are inflicting pain on their loved ones, their parents. And most of them, they react. Even kids that are 2-3 years, when they see someone hitting their parents, they cry.
That experience is this lifetime. Now, let me tell you about Salem. Reverend Deodat Lawson wrote a detailed account of a child's examination before the magistrates. He recorded that she was between 4 and 5 years of age and noted the chaotic courtroom scene. When this child did but cast its eye upon the afflicted persons, they were tormented, and they held her head, and yet so many as her eye could fix upon were afflicted. Lawson also noted that the afflicted claimed she bit them and showed the magistrates the marks of a small set of teeth to prove it.
Her name was Dorothy Good. She was 4 or 5 years old. Her mother, Sarah, was one of the first 3 vulnerable women arrested when the affliction started in Salem in February 1692. When Dorothy's mother, Sarah, had been young, her father died, leaving debt. When she grew up, her first husband died, leaving her with more of it. By the time she married William Good, Dorothy's father, they had almost nothing. Sarah was begging from the neighbors, sometimes sleeping in the barns with her children, including her newborn. When neighbors turned her away, she muttered, and people remembered that.
She was someone the community had already stopped protecting long before anyone said the word witch. When Sarah was accused, Dorothy was taken too, jailed, questioned. She reportedly confessed. Reportedly, she said that her mother had given her a familiar, a snake. She was 4 years old, and she was in chains.
Dorothy Good's mother was hanged July 19, 1692. Dorothy was still arrested and in custody. She survived. She got out. But when her father petitioned for compensation years later, he wrote that Dorothy had lost her reason, that she couldn't govern herself anymore.
We just listened to Maimunat describe standing in a doorway at 10 years old, telling grown men they could not come in to harm her mother, and being told that a child who would do that must be a witch herself, and then having to carry that burden with her to this day.
As you heard, she told us that an accused person, after enough time, after enough voices starts to ask herself or himself if it might be true. That is what it does. That is what accusations of witchcraft do. That's what they've always done. In Salem in 1692 and right now in 2026.
Dorothy Good was 4 years old in chains. Maimunat Muhammad was 10 years old in a doorway. The trials did not end in 1692.
And that is why End Witch Hunts nonprofit speaks up every week. Josh and I are descendants of Salem witch trial victims. That history is personal to us. And what we have learned from living inside that history is that witch hunting is still a part of lived experience now. The faces change, the centuries change, the names change, the lived story does not.
End Witch Hunts is our commitment to that, educating about witch hunts past and present, advocating for the accused, and standing with the people doing that work on the ground right now. Thank you for tuning into the Thing About Salem for Podcasthon 2026. Consider donating to our nonprofit at endwitchhunts.org/donate. If donating isn't possible right now, share this episode and start some conversations. Hey everyone, I'm Josh Hutchinson.
And I'm Sarah Jack. Welcome to Salem Witch Trials Daily YouTube course.
You're about to embark on something unique. We've spent years researching the Salem witch trials from primary sources, and now we're bringing you the story day by day in a video course that follows the actual timeline of the 1692 and 1693 history.
Each daily video is bite-sized, just a few minutes covering what happened on that day or exploring key topics that help you understand the context. You can watch as we release them or binge a full week at once.
Here's what makes this different. We've built a full course around these videos that will grow your expertise. Whether you want to just watch casually or dive deep with assignments and activities, you can engage at whatever level works for you.
Every week, we release Standard Edition and Student Edition workbooks and a blog post on AboutSalem.com. The blog recaps the week's content and gives you the big picture. The workbook is where the real learning happens if you want to go deeper.
The workbook has fill-in-the-blank summaries, reflection questions, vocabulary building, quote scavenger hunts, and 4 weekly challenges. You'll make predictions, practice citing evidence, write character journals, and share what you've learned.
We also have a weekly podcast, The Thing About Salem, that explores topics beyond the daily timeline. The workbook includes optional activities for the podcast episode too.
As you progress, you earn achievement badges you can share on social media. Start with hashtag Salem Daily Student. Track your weekly progress with hashtag Salem Week 1, hashtag Salem Week 2, and work toward mid-course badges like Salem Daily Researcher and completion badges like hashtag Salem Daily Grad.
And here's something special. If you're descended from someone involved in the Salem witch trials, like we are, we have a parallel descendant track with its own badges and recognitions. You can honor your family's connection while learning the history.
No matter when you're watching this, you can start anytime and work at your own pace. All the published videos, blogs, and workbooks are always available. We're releasing them weekly following the 1692 timeline during 2026 to 2027. But you don't have to keep up. Go at your own speed.
Head to AboutSalem.com to download this week's workbook and read the blog. All the resources, recommended books, and ways to support this nonprofit work are linked there.
This is a 75-week journey covering all of 1692 and 1693. Whether you're doing the full course or just following along, you're part of a community exploring this history together.
So welcome. We're glad you're here. Let's dive into the Salem witch trials together.
See you tomorrow.